Wait, you actually let him sit at the family table? My mother-in-law whispered loudly across the reception hall tonight. My father froze, holding the small gift he saved months to buy. I stood slowly. Actually, there's something everyone here should hear first. My name is Olivia Harper, and I'm 34 years old. I'm a public school teacher in a small city where most people work hard and don't brag about it. My life has never been glamorous. I spend my mornings grading papers, my afternoons helping students who struggle with reading, and my evenings planning lessons for the next day. I don't make a lot of money, but I've always believed in honest work and treating people with respect. I grew up in a modest home with my father. My mother passed away when I was 8. After that, my father worked 2 jobs to keep our lives steady. During the day, he repaired appliances. At night, he drove deliveries across town. I remember hearing the front door creak open late at night when he came home tired, still smelling like motor oil and cold air. He raised me with simple rules. Work hard, be kind, never look down on someone for having less. I wasn't rich, I wasn't powerful, I certainly wasn't impressive to people who measured success by bank accounts. My fiancé's family was the opposite. They came from money, expensive houses, luxury vacations, business connections. They liked reminding people about it too. At first they were polite to me, smiles at dinner, compliments about my teaching job. But there were small moments that didn't sit right. Tiny looks, quiet jokes. My father always tried to fit in when he visited them. He wore the same navy suit every time because it was the only one he owned. He never complained, he just wanted me to be happy. I wasn't rich or powerful, but I had something they never expected. If you've ever felt underestimated because of where you came from, I understand you. Sometimes people see your background and decide your worth in seconds. If that sounds familiar, subscribe and share your story in the comments. And if you believe humble beginnings can hide powerful stories, click hype. The wedding reception looked perfect on the surface. Crystal glasses sparkled under the chandelier lights. White flowers covered every table. Soft music played from a string quartet in the corner. Everything about the evening reflected the groom's family's taste and money. My father arrived quietly after the ceremony. I noticed him near the entrance holding a neatly wrapped gift box. His hands were shaking a little. "Hey, kiddo," he said when I walked over. "I didn't want to bother anyone earlier." "What are you talking about?" I asked. "I know these fancy places have rules." His aunts leaned toward another relative and said, "That must be her father. Look at that suit." Another woman laughed quietly. "And did you see the car he drove up in?" Their voices weren't as quiet as they thought. I pretended not to hear. Then another comment cut through the air. "Well, I suppose every wedding needs a few humble guests." I felt heat rush into my face. Before I could respond, one of the event coordinators approached my father. "Sir, we need to move you," she said politely. "Move me?" he asked. "Yes, the family table is reserved." I looked at the seating chart. My father's name had been placed at the main table earlier. Now it had been replaced. They moved him to a small table near the kitchen doors where waiters carried trays in and out. My father gave a small laugh. "It's fine, honey," he whispered to me. "I'm just happy to see you smile tonight." The smell of roasted chicken drifted from the kitchen as plates clattered behind him. Guests nearby glanced at us, sensing something uncomfortable. Then my mother-in-law raised her glass during a toast. "This evening is beautiful. Of course, it might have been even nicer if both families contributed equally." The room fell silent. Everyone looked at me. Everyone looked at my father. That was when I realized something. This wasn't an accident. It was deliberate. My hands stopped shaking. I walked toward the microphone near the stage. "Before we continue the celebration," I said, "there's something everyone here needs to know." Standing there with the microphone, memories started flooding my mind. This wasn't the first time they had humiliated my father. The first warning came months earlier during dinner at their house. My father talked about fixing an old refrigerator for a neighbor who couldn't afford repairs. My husband's uncle chuckled. "So you still do that kind of work?" My father smiled politely. "Honest work keeps the lights on." The uncle leaned back in his chair. "Well, that's one way to live." Everyone laughed, except me. Then came the wedding planning meeting. My future mother-in-law was reviewing ceremony details. "We should talk about who walks Olivia down the aisle." "My father," I answered immediately. She hesitated. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Sometimes photos look better if the bride walks alone, or perhaps with someone more formal." "More formal?" I repeated. "Yes," she said gently. "Someone who fits the setting." I stared at her. "My father raised me. He's walking me." She smiled thinly. "Of course, if that's what you want." Then there was the rehearsal dinner. My father handed them a small wrapped box. Inside was a framed photo of my fiancé and I from our engagement day. My father had restored the damaged original using his own tools. My mother-in-law looked at it and forced a smile. "Oh, that's cute." Later, I heard her whisper to someone, "It's sweet, but unnecessary." I waited for my fiancé to defend him. He didn't. He just changed the subject. Standing in the wedding hall now, hearing whispers around the room, I felt something shift inside me. My father leaned toward me from his distant seat. "Olivia," he said quietly, "don't make a scene. It's your big day." But the truth was clear now. The disrespect had never stopped. Tonight, it had simply become public, and I was done staying silent. What they never understood about me was simple. They thought I was dependent on this marriage. They assumed my teaching salary meant I needed their wealth to live comfortably. They believed I was quiet because I had no power. What they didn't know was that I had a life they never bothered to understand. For the past 3 years, I had been running an anonymous storytelling channel online. At first, it started as a small hobby. I recorded stories about resilience, family struggles, and standing up for yourself. People listened. Then more people listened. Eventually, millions did. My channel grew faster than I ever imagined. Messages arrived every day from viewers sharing their own experiences. They trusted the voice behind those stories. The funny part was that my husband's family often mocked online creators. "Internet nonsense," one of them once said during dinner. "People wasting time talking to strangers." They had no idea that the storyteller they criticized was sitting at the same table. Over time, I began recording personal reflections as well. Some included moments with my fiancé's relatives, not because I planned revenge. At first, it was simply documentation for my channel. But recently, those recordings captured something important. Several conversations where they mocked my father. I never intended to reveal my identity publicly. Until tonight. Rachel knew the truth from the beginning. Rachel has been my best friend since we were kids. We grew up riding bicycles through the same quiet streets and sharing cheap pizza after school. She also helped me manage my channel once it started growing. During wedding planning, she watched everything carefully. "I don't trust them," she whispered to me once while we arranged invitations. "They're just different," I said. "No," Rachel replied, "they're cruel." Now she stood across the reception hall, watching the situation unfold. When my father was moved to the kitchen table, Rachel walked over to me. "You don't have to stay silent anymore," she whispered. I looked at her. "They humiliated him," I said. "I know, but remember something. Millions of people already respect your voice." Across the room, my husband's family continued laughing and drinking like nothing had happened. They believed the night belonged to them. Guests began noticing the tension when they saw me holding the microphone. Rachel gave me a small nod. That was all the encouragement I needed. I lifted the microphone. "Thank you all for being here tonight," I began. Conversation stopped. I looked directly at my father, sitting near the kitchen doors. "That man over there," I said, pointing toward him, "is the reason I'm standing here today." My father looked confused. He worked 2 jobs after my mother passed away. He sacrificed sleep, money, and comfort so I could build a life. Some guests nodded quietly. Then I turned toward my husband's family. You know how deeply that pain cuts. No one deserves to watch someone they love get treated that way. If you've experienced something similar, share your story in the comments and subscribe so this community can stand together. Click hype to help the story reach others who need it. Your story has power. If my experience connected with you, please subscribe and share your journey in the comments. Every hype helps this message reach someone who might be struggling quietly. Thank you for being here and listening today.